To say the least, I'm still in.
I can see what's coming. I can
yes.
see what's coming. We need to know because it's devastating what this community.
Their houses are gone.
Hurricane Melissa was the most destructive storm to strike Jamaica in more than 30 years. More than 1 million lives disrupted, and thousands still waiting to hear from loved ones.
This is Food for the Poor, but we're not just food.
We go beyond the plate to discuss a full range of development programs, all designed to break the cycle of poverty.
By empowering people with the tools and training they need to transform their lives for generations to come.
These stories will inspire you, and best of all, you can be part of the change that takes place.
Join us as we go beyond the plate.
Today on Beyond the Plate, we welcome back Ed Raine, President and CEO of Food for the Poor, and just returned from the ground, from what we've seen and heard and what he witnessed and what the team is up against and how Jamaica begins one of the hardest rebuilds of our lifetime.
Ed, welcome back to Beyond the Plate.
Thank you, guys. Good to be back.
We were there with you on the ground, seeing it firsthand. The numbers of fatalities, unfortunately, growing probably by the day. You're talking about tens of thousands of households completely upended and displaced, hundreds of thousands of structures damaged. I mean, when we were driving and there's a point where you cross into St. Elizabeth and it's just another world. And every person said, Jamaica's unrecognizable.
It's one of these sort of really clear lines where the hurricane and really the tornado effect of the eye just blazes its own trail. I've heard it described as a buzzsaw effect. So you can imagine, the things that are there, and then 10 feet to the left, it's the buzzsaw, and it's just like carving a clear trail of destruction.
The complete destruction. Can you just paint a picture for our audiences? What is going on right now on the ground in terms of this destruction in these parishes that Danny mentioned and we saw on our trip?
Yeah, well, I think you have to start with the people, of course, and what they need to do each day, and that is they need to survive. So with homes, completely devastated, even the ones that are fortunate have lost roofs, and so it's a terrible situation. For others, they lost everything. There are literally no walls. So you see this devastation, and people are really trying to get food and water and of course, shelter. We've partnered with Shelter Box, so they're going to help us with, that's very much a sort of a temporary shelter. But we're also very anxious to get our home building back into full stride. So we may have mentioned on this forum before that Food for the Poor has built 35,000 homes in Jamaica. So, we have that capacity to build, and we want to bring that to as quickly to the front line as possible. But just generally, it's community after community in the western part that has really lost. And when we say everything, you have to really understand it's their job as well that's gone, right? So
Yes.
this is why it's so devastating. I went on one of the Chinook U.S. helicopters into a community, and the factory they all worked in was also devastated. So now you got this problem of homes wrecked, not sure where the water or the food's coming from, and I don't have a job. Everybody is engaged in trying to be able to respond to this, and Food for the Poor especially, has really had to, increase significantly the volume of what we normally would provide to help. But it's really distressing to see just how many people are in this situation, and to hear their stories. We were in a small fishing community called Galleon Beach, and there's 23 fishing boats. It was a Food for the Poor community. Not one of those boats can be used right now. So all of the gear's gone, and the production they had for filleting the fish and, packing it, icing it, distributing, all of that's gone. So their livelihood's completely wiped out. There was one gentleman we met, and he described how he literally clung onto a piece of plywood from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And in what was left of his home, the water just rose and rose and rose. And I think he said it got to about 5 or 6 feet. And he was still hanging onto this board. And he said, like a surfboard. I mean, think about that all day. And he said, he never thought he was going to survive it.
Wow. When the assessment is everything is gone, what does that emergency response then look like?
Well, it is daunting, and the power part of the equation is months away, right? So power is not coming back into some of these areas in a long, long time. I mean, you can see it. The power lines are down, one after the other, for mile after mile. People are really thinking, and we are contemplating a months-long response in terms of providing food and water, and then the shelter part, right? So it's all at once, and then you think about the back to the income generating. How are we going to get that going? Think about the fishermen in many respects. That example is actually relatively quick because you can get the boats repaired and you can get engines on them. They can go back out to sea and catch fish.
Right.
But that's not true for agriculture. So a lot of the farmers, it's always the smallholder farmers, right? They had a lot of them who were raising chickens. Well, those chickens all blew away in the storm. So that's a complete reset.
And Ed, let's also remind our audience, you've been here long enough to have seen Hurricane Maria devastate Puerto Rico, Hurricane Dorian completely upend the Bahamas, and now this. Was there anything in Hurricane Beryl last year? Was there anything that surprised you? I think I expected to see the level of destruction that was forecast. Right. What was a bit surprising was that many of the people that we talked to didn't see that coming. Right? They thought, this is because the storm spun out there at sea for a while. And they said, it's not coming, So I think I'm surprised that so many were caught by surprise, and I think, but it's still, I'm also surprised that not that many people lost their lives given what went through.
But now we're going to talk about the partnerships. Now, Food for the Poor, in just a couple of days, now weeks, have become the operational backbone for partners like World Food Program, Global Empowerment Mission, World Central Kitchen. So what does that actual coordination look like?
I mean, we've learned, especially in the last sort of 6-7 years, how important partnerships are to being able to really address the problems that, those that we serve in poverty naturally, need a response to. So I would say this was very much a natural reaction in today's context for Food for the Poor to embrace an opportunity to partner with as many organizations as we're trying to get the work done. And so this starts with, for example, World Central Kitchen, where, we cleared all their goods and we distributed all their goods for them. So that got them going faster so they could produce hot meals. World Food Program, we already had partnerships in other countries. This was a natural one, and that is an extremely strong partnership on the ground in Jamaica with them. So all of their food that's coming in now at a very steady state is we're jointly packing and then certainly distributing. So, but these things just allow us to do a couple of things. One is to do what's needed at scale, but also to use an existing distribution, which is Food for the Poor's, and that involves, the church networks that we've always had. I mean, in the 42 years it's been the churches. So really looking at, we want to move containers from a sort of hub to hub, and then from the hub get last mile distribution, through primarily a network of churches.
And it's interesting because we have the partners in the donors, the partners in the organizations that work hand in hand with us. But what inspired you with regards to the leadership, the team in Jamaica? Because we got to come back to Florida, but they're still there. And one particular staff member, I remember she said, I still haven't heard from my brother.
Yeah. Well, I know who you're talking about. And, it is, I think that's really the best lens to think about what's been going on. So for many of our staff, they had family members or close friends who lived in the western side of Jamaica, and so they were struggling and still probably haven't all heard back. But through that, they have persevered and they have, really given their whole heart and soul into serving. And I think it's that level of commitment that you just look at and you say, wow, that's inspiring, right? So as hard as it is to be able to do this without that sort of backdrop. But when you know that that's what people are fighting through as well, their personal unknowns, if the safety of the family members and friends, it's truly inspiring. And and really this has been an extraordinary team effort. So the U.S. Food for the Poor teams have really aligned with the Jamaican Food for the Poor teams, and it's been together that we've really been able to scale up.
The one thing that to me, when we were there, that struck me the most was the level of local volunteers that came in every single day, twice a day. These volunteers with their yellow vests were out in the elements, and they were happy to do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, at times of great need, it's always just a wonderful thing to see people step up and offer their help, right? So we've been really blessed with the number of volunteers and how well they've been able to help us. So, I think we were in the 150 to 200 volunteers a day on the dock in Spanish Town, really helping us pack. I think we have sort of declared that our regular run rate is about 3,500 food kits or whatever we're packing, but kits every day. And that's pretty impressive because that means it's got to go through an assembly line of each item.
That was my favorite.
So it takes a while.
Yeah.
So lots of volunteers, and I also want to commend the JDF. So we asked for help from them, and I think we've been getting 20 to 30 soldiers a day who are showing up just to help us pack. And it's been great to work alongside everybody who's shown up, and it's the sort of that milk of human kindness element comes out where people truly want to serve their fellow human being.
I want to talk about now the 12th man, which is the donor. The people who didn't jump on a plane and didn't get to see these things for themselves, but they gave in the moment of need, right? We're after seeing that Melissa damage firsthand, and what have those donors made possible that could have not happened actually without them?
Well, let's acknowledge the extraordinary generosity of donors, and and there's sort of, I think there's two categories of donors, if I can put it that way, broadly speaking. One is the donors who know Food for the Poor and have always been there and have been called upon and have responded generously, of course. Mm-hmm. But the Jamaican diaspora is a thing, right? There are more Jamaicans who live outside Jamaica than live inside Jamaica. And they have just absolutely been extraordinary in terms of really generating, the awareness, number one, but really coming together. And I think this is a Unite Jamaica type of thing.
Yes, it does feel like that.
And it's been wonderful. They want to know they can trust an organization. And honestly, it's been really, I guess, heartwarming is the best way I can describe it, to see the amount of trust that people have in Food for the Poor, to be that good steward of those donations. So whether it's in the gifts in kind, as we say, the donated products, mm-hmm. or the cash that we're using to buy food locally and to get it, then so that we can get things out as fast as possible. So it's been through all of the darkness of these situations always present, the light of kindness, yes, and generosity and support has been truly amazing. And I think that's what helps organizations like keep going. It's because, we feel that trust. We feel the inspiration from others who are literally cheering us on from the sideline.
So you mentioned the light. So I want to, and you mentioned celebrities. Let's talk about the spotlight of the celebrities. We saw Shaggy loading up private planes to come down and deliver goods. We saw Sean Paul and his family.
That's
the warehouse packing supplies. Cedella Marley was here in our headquarter building.
That's the country of my birth. My father, my mother, my brothers, my sisters. And we have a saying, every mickle make a muckle in Jamaica. So we do what we have to do when we have to do it, without hesitation. Soap, toothbrush, deodorant, Dettol, antiseptic, wash rags. Did I say toothpaste? Toothbrush? Yeah, it's all in there.
Lots of people are being pulled into trying to do something very special to help give back to Jamaica. I see it, and the celebrities have been amazing. Really stepping in to a situation that frankly needs their help at this point.
I want to get probably into the meat of things. This is probably our favorite part of this episode, which is the numbers. We kind of want to hear what's the actual impact that's been going on so far, and obviously as soon as we give these numbers, they're about to change.
So far, we've got sort of 96 shipments, 17 air freight, and 79 sea containers. for a total of about 1,875 pallets of aid that's already gone. Of that, 31 of those containers were for food, 4 were medical, including wheelchairs, medical supplies. And then 61 were non-food items. So that's everything from clothing, diapers, building supplies, personal care, household goods, mattresses, kitchen supplies. I mean, a whole list of things that people need when it's, it's all gone, right? So, and I think that's definitely, certainly the packing of the food and what's gone out. I mean, that's, we can say certainly what we've served is about 11,000 families and counting, and that's just on the food side. It's mind-blowing, and it is needed. So keeping that pace up is absolutely critical.
So let's really touch some hearts here. Really talk about the unsung heroes as we introduce what's going on with regards to children, because the time that we spent down there, that the adults are resilient. They have the skills
and doing their best to be resilient.
Absolutely. Keeping a smile on their face, keeping their own children calm. But then you have these unsung heroes like Miss Brown at Crawford School.
Well, we were lucky to just literally bump into her. She didn't know we were coming with our food distribution, and somehow she was presented to me almost as she walked in. Someone knew who she was. She was the guidance counselor for the school that we were at. And she started to really quantify what it is that had happened to these kids.
All right, so I want to introduce you to Tracy Ann Brown. So Tracy, just tell everyone what your role is here, and everyone's going to understand why it's so important for us to talk to you today when they see the damage around this school.
Okay, so I am Tracy Ann Brown, and I am the guidance counselor, and I've been here for 7 years. To say the least, I'm still in.
I can see what's coming. I can see what's coming.
Yeah,
just keep. We need to know, because it's devastating what this community.
Their houses are gone.
Yeah.
And most of the parents, they would have worked in and around the environment. Now there's no work in Black River, because if you would have seen Black River, it's totally flat.
I mean, help me think through how devastating this is. I mean, Food for the Poor has built hundreds of schools, I mean, maybe even 1,000 schools in Jamaica in 43 years, and we repaired countless.
But I just want somewhere where the students can go even for a short time until, they are able to come back to some semblance of normalcy.
There's some very fundamental concerns here. That school we were at, it needs to be rebuilt. How long is that going to take? And when do the kids get back into a formal type of classroom? Yes. I mean, is there another space they could go to? The teacher could actually teach them. I mean, so that uncertainty is weeks, if not months. I don't know. Everyone's going to work hard. I know that to get them back. But, there are all obviously, a grade of school kids that are about to face their national examinations.
Yes,
These are absolutely critical for their life, right, in terms of making those next educational steps. So all of that is sort of at risk right now.
The effect on the children in terms of, and it was a big topic for everybody, the mental issues, what damage is done, the trauma that is done on these children. I don't know what pallet you could send to fix that.
Well, you can't. And I think this is where, because of our relationship with the church, we're excited about how the church can be a part of that sort of counseling, consolation, bringing people back to their faith at a time when that faith may be the one sort of thing they can hold on to with some certainty. So we're excited about we've just long-time engagement with their 4,000 churches in Jamaica, and we routinely on a monthly basis deal with about 1,200 of them. So we've already got that. I think there's a real understanding in Jamaica that the church is a major sort of element of the equation for future success. Yeah. And it needs to be fully utilized. And because that's kind of our sweet spot, that's what we do. This will be easy for us to tap into and most necessary to support.
So to round out the episode today, we've heard and you've mentioned, and this is what we know, we've been in Jamaica for over 40 years plus. We're going to be there a lot longer than the cameras are going to be there now. So we're going to look into the future now. So the next 30, 60, 90 days, which is kind of like that relief window that we can work with. What does that transition from relief to rebuilding really truly look like?
Well, it is about the shelter and the income generating piece, right? Two things that we've always had a strong position. As we see kind of what comes in, we will be able to do our very best to support as many people as possibly can, but shelter and income generation is the key here. And crops can come back, but you got to put the seeds in the ground and you got to, work the land. The chickens can be replaced, but there's a cost to those. But I think we have to understand that, a huge percentage of the coffee production got destroyed. Bananas, certainly, nearly all the crops in the west side got destroyed. So it's going to take a lot of rebuilding. So this is where, I'm going to be very much connected with Oriat. What is available? So from whether there's government grants to do things, whether there's going to be government investment in certain things, just making sure that we can be really as helpful as we intend to be for the people of Jamaica in this rebuild. And certainly for those that tend to be sort of, marginalized in terms of those in extreme poverty, that's the population that we're here to serve first and foremost.
Well, Ed Raine, thank you for joining us again on Beyond the Plate, for giving us an update that has been so needed. We understand that the work that we've done in the weeks since the storm is just the beginning. We've got our work cut out for us, but...
Yeah, well, those of us who I'm very familiar with Jamaica. I mean, I've been going there for 35 years. I'm married to a Jamaican. I understand Jamaica. The scale of this rebuild is, I think, the really daunting element here. And so, we have to do a good job on articulating what the need is, and asking if we need help. We need the support. We will continue to promote the needs of Jamaica and Jamaicans and do everything we can to sort of help them as they try to find a sure foundation once again.
Jamaica's given the world so much culture and food.
Well, I've said a few times, and I think it bears saying constantly, is that so many people have received real joy from Jamaica, whether it's as a tourist or listening to the music, the richness of the music. And I see in what's happening now, people trying to give that joy back to Jamaica at a time when they need that encouragement. They need to see the joy. That's been very heartwarming, to be perfectly honest, to know that people love Jamaica.
Thanks for listening.
We hope you felt the connection.
One plate, one story, one act of love
can change everything. Discover more stories and join our community at foodforthepoor.org/podcast and follow us too at beyondtheplate.podcast. Together we can make a difference. This is Beyond the Plate.